Hello there, IELTS 7 Plus students, and a big welcome to the general section, where of course we'll be looking at all the different lessons you need in order to ace your IELTS general test. So really, in this first introductory lesson, we're going to kind of just talk about in a bit more detail what IELTS actually is. Now, a lot of you will have a pretty good idea already, but there are definitely lots of students who aren't really sure what the IELTS test is, just like this guy here. So what exactly is the IELTS test? It may be that you know you need to take the IELTS test. You know it's something you have to do now or possibly in the future coming up, but you're not really sure what it is. So let's take a brief look at what the IELTS test is. So it's been around for a long time, even older than me. It was launched in 1980 in the UK by Cambridge English, who make a lot of different resources for English language tests, and the British Council, who of course are a big player in the world of English language learning, as well as IELTS. And the IELTS test was created to test English fluency. So the test really is all about focusing on English fluency in academic settings or just overall in general settings too. So roughly there are around 3 to 4 million tests each year. That's not students, because some students actually will take the test 2, 3, maybe even more times, but generally 2 or 3 times. Lots of students will have to retake in order to get that band score. And you'll be tested within 4 modules, whether that's academic or general. Whichever test you're doing, you'll be tested in 4 different sections: speaking, writing, reading, and listening, which is often considered the 4 parts of language fluency. So 3.4 million tests a year, it's hugely popular for sure. Many students who pass the test are able to study, work, or train even in a foreign country. And just as a quick example, the countries that often use IELTS are UK, Ireland, Australia, Canada. Many countries use IELTS as a stamp of English fluency. And if you're studying, so say you want to go to university, you'll do IELTS academic. But if you're wanting a visa, maybe to live with your spouse, your partner, or to get a job, say in the UK or England somewhere, then you'll need IELTS general. We'll talk about the difference between academic and general in a bit more detail shortly. And as I just said, there are 2 kinds of IELTS tests, academic and general, and they're used for slightly different purposes. I just highlighted it quickly there, but we'll talk about it in a bit more detail soon. Academic is for study, general is usually for immigration, like you're going to go live in another country. Okay, so before we begin the course, here's some quick information to share with you, or some important information too. So you have unlimited access to the whole course and all updates. So use the lessons as much as you want. Look out for future updates too. I would highly recommend having a notepad or similar, maybe a digital notepad like an iPad or something like that, to support your studies. Now, I know it comes down a little bit to student preference, like study preferences. I always use notepads, but I think it's very useful for you to watch the videos, pause, write down notes, write down language that you see I'm using, read it back, and you try and use it as well. So I do highly recommend a notepad or similar for studying on IELTS 7 Plus. And finally, remember to use the Q&A feature. I try and respond actually within about 24 hours, but I try and get back to everyone within 48 hours. And it's a really useful way. If you've got any questions, you weren't sure about something, you can jump in the Q&A section and maybe see other students asking about the same thing. It's useful for you to read all that. And also, you're reading and using English in the Q&A section, so it's a double win. And of course, I try and get back to everyone as quick as I can. If you have any questions, you can always direct message me too. And I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so a quick overview on what the IELTS is, and we'll really build on that understanding throughout this entire course, and just some little pointers on using the course. So let's jump into your next lesson.